The night was too quiet. No wind, no voice, no answer. Across the hills, the Philistine army burned like a sea of fire, their torches flickering against the black sky. Thousands of soldiers, thousands of swords, waiting. And in the center of Israel's camp, the king was afraid. Saul had once heard the voice of God like thunder, clear, powerful, certain. But now, when he called out for guidance, nothing. No dream, no prophet, no whisper in the dark. Silence. The enemy was drawing closer. Heaven remained silent, and time was slipping through his fingers. So he chose to knock on a different door. And that night, in a hidden cave, something rose from the darkness. Something no king was ever meant to summon. Today, we learn what happens when fear overshadows faith and a desperate heart looks for answers outside of God. Night had fallen heavily over Israel. The wind moved through the hills like a warning no one could silence. Across the valley, fires burned in endless rows, the army of the Philistines preparing for war. And in his tent, the king of Israel trembled. Once Saul had stood taller than every man in the nation, chosen by God, anointed with oil, crowned with promise. But now, fear sat where faith once lived. He had already tried everything. He prayed, but heaven was silent. He waited, but no dream came. He sought prophets, but none spoke. God did not answer him anymore. And Saul knew why. Years earlier, the prophet Samuel had warned him, obedience mattered more than sacrifice. Saul had disobeyed. Pride had replaced humility, and the spirit that once guided him had departed. Samuel was dead now, buried, gone. And Israel's greatest king stood utterly alone. Ironically, Saul himself had once driven mediums and spiritists out of the land, obeying God's command against consulting the dead. But desperation changes a man. That night, Saul turned to his servants. "Find me a woman who speaks with spirits," he whispered. The words tasted like defeat. His servants hesitated before answering. "There is one at Endor." Before we continue, I just want to kindly ask you to take 2 seconds to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Your support truly means more than you know. It takes a lot of time, effort, and heart to bring these stories to life, and every single like, share, and comment helps us keep telling them. Thank you for being here. Now, let's continue. So Saul removed his royal robes. No crown, no armor, no sign he was king. Under darkness, he crossed enemy territory with only 2 men beside him. The journey felt like betrayal with every step. By midnight, they reached a small house carved into the hillside. Inside lived the woman history would remember as the Witch of Endor. She opened the door cautiously. Saul spoke first. "Consult a spirit for me. Bring up the one I name." Fear flashed across her face. "Surely you know what King Saul has done. He has cut off mediums from the land. You are setting a trap for me." Saul swore an oath. "As surely as the Lord lives, you will not be punished." Only then did she ask, "Whom shall I bring up?" Saul's voice broke. "Bring up Samuel." The woman began her ritual. The room grew still. Then, suddenly, she screamed. Not the scream of performance, the scream of terror. "I see a spirit rising from the earth," she cried. Her eyes widened as realization struck. "You are Saul." Something had gone terribly beyond her control. Saul leaned forward urgently. "What do you see?" An old man wrapped in a robe. Saul fell face down to the ground. He knew. Samuel. A voice spoke, heavy, sorrowful, undeniable. "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" Saul poured out his despair. "The Philistines fight against me. God has departed from me. He answers me no longer. So I have called you to tell me what to do." There was no comfort in Samuel's reply. "Why ask me, since the Lord has turned away from you and become your enemy?" Every word struck like a hammer. Samuel reminded Saul of his disobedience, how he failed to carry out God's command fully. The kingdom had already been given to another, to David. Then came the final prophecy. "Tomorrow, you and your sons will be with me. The Lord will deliver Israel into the hands of the Philistines." Silence followed. The future had been spoken, and it held no escape. Saul collapsed. All strength left him. He had eaten nothing all day, and terror drained what remained. The woman, frightened yet compassionate, urged him to eat before leaving. Reluctantly, Saul accepted bread and meat prepared in haste. His final meal. Before dawn, Saul arose and stepped back into the night. No longer searching for answers, only walking towards destiny. On Mount Gilboa, battle raged. Israel fell before the Philistines. Saul's sons died, and wounded beyond escape, the first king of Israel fell upon his own sword rather than be captured, just as Samuel had said. Saul's tragedy was not that God stopped speaking, it was that Saul had stopped listening long before. In fear, he sought guidance where God had forbidden, chasing voices in darkness after rejecting the light. And the night at Endor became one of Scripture's most haunting moments. A king, abandoned by obedience, searching for hope among the dead. From this story, we can learn two important lessons. First, God's silence came as a result of Saul's disobedience. Over time, Saul allowed pride, power, and the comforts of kingship to cloud his judgment. He forgot that the throne, the victories, and the blessings he enjoyed all came from God. Sometimes we can fall into the same trap. Life becomes busy, success comes, and slowly we begin to drift, forgetting the very one who gave us those blessings. Second, even in moments when God seems silent, we must still trust in His presence. Silence does not mean absence. It does not mean God has stopped loving us. Faith means trusting Him even when the answers do not come immediately. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this story. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. And let us know in the comments what Bible story you would like to see next.